Okay, welcome. It's Friday evening here at Detroit in Black and White. We've got Teresa here. Anyway, yeah, welcome to the show. We're going to have Adolph in a couple minutes. He was just heading into his apartment there. I'm Allan Lengel, editor of Deadline Detroit, former reporter for the Washington Post, and former reporter for the Detroit News. And we've got the star of the show, Adolph Mongo. Welcome.
I'm not the star of the show, Allan Lengel, but how you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good. So we got some things. You and I talked at lunch today about a couple things we want to talk about tonight. One being John James getting the endorsement of Trump and then continuing to suck up to Trump in every which way. And then we're also going to talk about the New York elections, where all three candidates that Mayor Mondomny endorsed won, and we're going to talk about whether is that an indicator of what's going to happen around the country, or is Michigan a better indicator with the progressive Abdul El Sayed? So, what's your thoughts on the John James? We have a video. Should we play that first, or?
Yeah, let's look at John James.
Okay, and this is John James on a show called The Benny Show, a guy, Benny Johnson, who's a right-wing host there, and this is right after he just got the endorsement by Trump, a day after.
Can't let these guys have an inch, and maybe we need to restore like the Midwest values, and that's where John James comes in with the brand new Trump endorsement. Congratulations, John.
Thanks so much. Appreciate you having me back on. Really excited for what the future holds for the state of Michigan and for our great republic.
Okay, just real quickly, like the Bears are leaving Chicago?
No, the Bears are being forced out of Chicago because of terrible policies in Illinois, just like the population of the state of Michigan is being forced out by the failed Marxist policies of Gretchen and Whitmer. Swamp the vote. We're going to make sure we get every conservative, every Republican out there who will fight for our public out to the ballot box, because this is it, guys. This is for all the marbles. This is our Alamo. This is our time. Jocelyn Benson right now is our current Secretary of State. She's literally running for governor the same election that she's presiding over. This is the same woman who lied to us and said that we had the safest and most secure election. We know in 2020, she rigged and manipulated the election process to defeat me and President Trump.
Bullshit.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on
that? Bullshit. Listen,
I
I know John James' father. I know his uncle. They staunch Democrats. I know them.
Mm-hmm.
I met with John James when he first decided to run for the Senate and stuff. Intelligent guy, Army veteran. But listen, he's in a cult now, and he got to go along with the idiot that Donald Trump controls the Republican Party. And so for him to say, oh, it was the election was rigged, etc., it's unbelievable. I remember going back when Jackie Curry was the clerk in the city, and in 2005, and Freeman Hendricks, who was running against Carmi Kilpatrick, who was an incumbent then, and they say, "Oh, it's rigged. She rigged everything." She lost.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if she was going to rig the election, she would have been one of the winners. I said, it's not perfect. The system's not perfect, but nobody's rigging the election, and we can look back in history and see where people manipulated the system. In 1876, Rupert B. Hayes cut a deal with the Southern Democrats, saying I will remove all the federal troops out of the South, and you can kick the black folks' ass and do what you want to do. And Jim Crow became the law of the land down south. Andrew Jackson got beat out of being president the first time, where there's a done deal with John Quincy Adams, and then it's been the same kind of stuff happening, manipulation.
Right.
But
he's only. Go ahead.
People had backroom deals, but John James is a liar. He's desperate. He wants, he got Trump endorsement. Trump's still mad at him for leaving that seat.
Right.
Are you kidding? Yeah. How can they be? Somebody said they can be easily rigged. No, they can't not be easily rigged. I'm not saying they can't be, but no, you rig. If you can easily rig the election, come on, let me take you somewhere and we can make a lot of money. Go ahead, Allan.
Right. I was going to say, first of all, the reason he says he's blaming Jocelyn Benson for them losing, for him and Trump losing Michigan in 2020. I mean, he lost in 2018 when he ran against Debbie Stabenow for Senate.
Yeah.
John James did. Jocelyn Benson was not the Secretary of State. He won in 2022 barely when she was Secretary of State. He won for re-election in 2024, as did Trump when Jocelyn Benson was Secretary of State. So it's just total bullshit. You can't have it both ways. When you win, everything's up and up. When you lose, I mean, he's playing. Trump cannot let go of the 2020.
And then he won, and if we was rigging the election, he beat an established Democrat for the Congress,
right?
And when he became a congressman, if we was rigging the elections, he wouldn't have been in that seat. So that's total bullshit,
right?
And he knows it, and he gets on these right wing shows who they could give a fuck about him. They don't like him.
Right.
They don't like him, and he gets there. I don't know how he fucking sleep at night. I don't talk to him, and it's like first thing he said, "Yeah, Mongo, you beat up on me and all that." I said, "Well, that goes with the territory,
right?"
It ain't nothing personal, but that's bullshit. Ask Tom Burrow. Tom Burrow could never beat Coleman Young. I know. So Tom Burrow, and I like Tom Burrow, smart guy, and me and him became friends. But when he was running against Coleman Young, he was out of his league at the time. So don't talk about. Don't even compare Tom Burrow. I was there when we beat the shit out of Tom Burrow. So anyway, go ahead.
When John James talks, I mean, he doesn't know the facts. First of all, as you say, he goes on a right-wing show and he calls Gretchen Whitmer saying her Marxist policies, which is just total horseshit. I mean, Gretchen Whitmer is she's straight down the middle Democrat. She's not a lefty. She's not to the right. She's just
Well, and she was raised in a Republican household.
Right.
Her father, and I knew Dick Whitmer when he was over at Blue Cross.
Right.
Smart guy, played politics, and he supported the city. He liked Coleman Young. Coleman Young liked him. Right. And and sometimes the Republicans are old played with the Democrats and they got things done. We look at William Milliken, and he made some mistakes when he pushed Rick Snyder. He thought Rick Snyder was going to be one of his disciples, so to speak, and Rick Snyder turned out to be a real asshole as governor. So yeah.
Well, and the other thing, I mean, there was a bunch of stuff on that show talking about Hamtramck that the host was saying every single council member is under investigation for election fraud, which is totally false.
That's bullshit.
And then the other thing they talk about when he asked him about the Chicago Bears, He doesn't know. John James doesn't know what he's talking about. What the issue in Chicago right now is, like, all these wealthy owners, these multi-billionaire owners, they want to get as much money as they can from the cities. They did that in Washington, D.C. with the Nationals. The state legislature is haggling over how much
they don't want to spend taxpayer money to build a new fucking stadium.
Right.
And so they say we moving out. So fucking move out.
It happens all the time.
Right.
They did that in DC when the Nationals moved from Montreal, and the Nationals they insisted that the city get, I can't remember, it was $400 or $600 million to build a new stadium.
And they said no.
These billionaires who are asking for money from a city that's cash strapped. And, look, in San Francisco, the owners of the Golden State Warriors, they built a $1.2 billion arena, privately funded, no money. The Ilitches do the same thing here. They took over $400 million in taxpayer money to build that arena under the condition that they developed that into a district with hotels.
And they didn't, and they haven't. And they haven't. And we give them money, and they do what they want to do to the shit. And people say, "Oh, I'm not going to do this." Look at Kansas City Chiefs. Right. And now I've been to Arrowhead Stadium, real nice stadium, right outside of Kansas City. Right. They said we moving to Kansas because why? Because Kansas City said we're not giving you all this fucking money. We're not gonna just build a stadium for you and then you get all the revenue.
Right.
So we moving to Kansas. So fucking move to Kansas. That's what I would tell them.
It's extortion. Should we read some comments before we head to a break?
Go ahead, Allan.
All right. So we've got Deborah Harris, 4120. Good evening. Less is more. What's up, Doe? At Mr. Duckett, 4006. Good evening, fellas. Janet Overall. Good evening, everyone. Less more. I'm going to ask John James to convince Trump not to deport almost 400,000 Haitians. Fred Allen, 855. Goofy. Mr. Duckett, the endorsement will deliver the primary, but cost him the general election. He's talking about Trump's endorsement, the gift and the curse. Jill Sheridan, hello to everyone. Hazel Park, Taekwondo, it's nonsense, BS. Deborah Harris, good evening. Janet Saluk, hello, all you good peeps. Edward Alt, 55085, good evening, Detroit. Les Moore, Adolph. Are you kidding? Elections can be easily rigged.
You tell me how to do it, and me and you can go into business. We go around the country rigging elections.
And it says, Les Moore says, Duggan is an example. I think
people say that. You know what I'm saying, they can be manipulated. And rig and manipulated is two different things. And I can give you two examples of being manipulated. Ed McNamara was an incumbent county exec. He ran against the late Clyde Cleveland, who was a councilman in Detroit. Clyde didn't have any money. He ran a campaign. Ed McNamara went to bed at election night. He was going to give a concession speech the next day because they said he's going to lose. When he woke up, the city clerk, Detroit city clerk, threw out several thousand ballots and they didn't look right. And McNamara won. Right. Boom. Shit. It wasn't rigged. It was manipulated.
Well, the question is it manipulated for the sake? Was there an issue of integrity of the election, or do you think it was manipulated so that he won?
I think it was manipulated. Well, they looked at they put a microscope on some of the ballots in Detroit, which if it was an ordinary election, they wouldn't have looked at it twice or 3 times or whatever. We had the same problems when John O'Hara was the prosecutor and Virgil Smith Sr. ran against him, and O'Hara thought he lost, but the city clerk again threw out several thousand votes. That was manipulation. It wasn't rigged. Nobody paid anybody, but it was the clerk that looked at the shit. So we know that, we look at what Trump and them do. We looked at how Al Gore lost. It wasn't rigged, but when it got to the Supreme Court, it was manipulated. Right. When Sandra Day O'Connor and them, they were like, okay, they already knew that how they was going to vote. Right. There it was. It should never got to the Supreme Court, but when it got there, we knew what was going to happen. Right. It wasn't rigged to get there, but we had to deal with a Secretary of State in Florida who said, "Oh, the hanging,
the Chad.
Yes, all the shit." Yeah, Gore didn't have his people there.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You're right there. There was certainly some questions raised. Here, let's read a couple more, and then we'll go to a break. Deborah Harris, I voted today by mail. Good for you. Fred Allen, Elon, and Starlink did. Janet Overall shared. Les Moore, Tom Barrow. I think we addressed that. Old Chap Lips, John. That's Kenneth Reed. Kenneth Reed again. Good evening, team. Les Moore. To me, the most important issue today is the amount of 400,000 Haitians losing their temporary protected status. I think it's outrageous how they're just
it is outrageous. But if you go to Florida and you talk to some of the Haitians, half of them are Trumpites.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. They like Trump. They come over here and they like Trump. The ones that can vote, they vote for Trump. With the cab drivers in DC, most of them are from African countries and stuff. When they got here, they didn't pick up black folks. They come in here. American blacks. You know what? But then when they find out that ICE is coming for them, we need to stand tall. Hey, right. We don't need to stand tall. When you don't stand tall with us, Michelle Obama said if they go low, she go high. I say if they go low, I'm digging a ditch all the way down to. I'm trying to find Lucifer. See if there's really a hell, because I want to bury these assholes.
Right.
But the bottom line is that the Haitians they got a raw deal when under Bill Clinton when the Cubans was on the boats trying to come over. If they get to land in the U.S., they keep them. When the Haitians came on the boat, same deal. The Coast Guard take them right back to Hades.
And Haiti is, both countries have issues, but Haiti is like, at least in the main cities, I think gangs have taken over.
They had left Hades, and they don't give a fuck.
Right.
Haiti's problem started when Toussaint Louverture beat the French, and after that, the Western world put their foot on the neck of Haitians. Yeah. We invaded Haiti 3-4 times. We controlled it. We put the presidents in, the presidents out, and now we saying we really don't want to. We don't care. I don't think they have a government.
Right.
I don't know.
They have a government, but it's pretty weak, and the gangs.
Like Somalia. There's gangs control part of it. They have a government that's only control a part of the country, and we sit here and we blame the Haitians. We the Dominican Republic, who their people come over here, they got over 200,000 Haitians that was born in the Dominican Republic, because they basically are the labor of the Dominican, and they want to kick them out of the Dominican Republic. They was born there. They not from Haiti. They live there. And how can you do that? And then you come over here and say you want to be part of the United States. But that's the way people are.
Yep. Well, let's take a break, and we'll be right back. It's Friday night, Detroit in Black and White, with Adolph Mongo and Allan Lengel. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabria, your Wayne County Treasurer. If you're living in a home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, the probate process can be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
Okay.
We're back. Yeah.
Let's read a few more here.
Okay.
Kenneth Reed, these professional sports team owners constantly seem to want to rely taxpayers to build their stadiums. I respected Bill Davidson for building the Palace with his own money. Exactly. I think it was $80 or $90 million.
But but you're right. He did, Bill Davidson. But the state paid for all the infrastructure. So he didn't build it all by himself, but he did build a building by himself. And I worked for Coleman Young, and he begged Bill Davidson to build it on the stadium on the riverfront. Said, we'll build a stadium. Bill Davidson said, I don't want the team to be in a cesspool. Now,
oh, really? Is that what he said?
And so I was there when Coleman Young went to Herb Cole, was a U.S. senator from Wisconsin. He owned the Milwaukee Bucks at one time. And they wanted to build a new stadium, and the city of Milwaukee said, we're not building you no stadium. Right. So he said, I'm moving. Coleman Young and him met, and he said, I'll move to Detroit. Bill Davidson going crazy. Go to the NBA commission and say, you can't build, have another team in Detroit. We got the Pistons. Right. And Coleman Young said, we got the two different groups of people rooting for two different teams. You got the suburbanites, love the Pistons. We got the city people that will embrace a new team, the Milwaukee Bucks. If you think I'm bullshitting, go talk to Emmett Moulton, who was there doing the deal, a developer now.
Has that been reported before? Or?
Yeah, well, it's been reported.
Okay.
And the city of Milwaukee said, damn, we can't let them move. Right. But Herb Cole, what he did was he used Detroit to get his stadium. And now, 30 years later, they want a new stadium in Milwaukee, the same stadium they built. It's the same shit. So, but Coleman Young had a vision. He said the fans in Detroit is different from the fans out in Oakland County, Macomb, or whatever. And he tried to bring, he was close. He's trying to bring them there. He said, LA got two teams. New York got two teams. Right. You know, he did his homework. Bill Davidson was going crazy. Yeah. I I don't know what's going on. You can't do that. But Coleman, he held a grudge just like a whole lot of other people. He haven't forgot that Bill Davis say, I'm out of here and I'm gone. But you know,
interesting.
it happens.
Yeah. Well, it's still going on all the time. It's a constant tug and pull. The Ted Leonsis, who owned the Capitals, the hockey team in Washington, and the Wizards, they were all ready to go. They made a surprise announcement. I think it was 2 years ago. They're going to the Virginia. Thankfully, the Virginia legislature didn't approve the funding. Not only that, but it was going to be right near the airport, Washington, Reagan National, which would have just really messed up the freeways. People trying to get to the airport on game days and stuff like that. But it's happening all the time, and it's insane, the money. I mean, look, the money these guys have is just insane. I mean, the Ellishes are whatever, 6 billion, 7 billion. Dan Gilbert's worth 23 billion or something like that. I mean, it's insane money. They don't, a lot of these guys don't need it. And, what's his name? Tom Gores. He got, what was it, like a $30 million subsidy to move from Pontiac to Detroit. Another, 5-6 billion.
Well, listen, we go back when Bruce Norris owned the Red Wings. The Norris family at one time owned 4 of the original 6 hockey teams: Chicago, Boston, Detroit, New York. They owned 4 of the 6. They didn't own the Toronto Maple Leafs or the Montreal Canadiens. Anyway, Bruce Norris, the last of one of the Norris, he was like, fuck it, I don't care about hockey and stuff. Red Wings was terrible. The city of Auburn Hills made a deal with the Red Wings. We're gonna move out and stuff. Coleman Young built Joe Louis. Didn't have a team. Didn't have the money. Dug a hole, started building, and he convinced the chair of the Michigan National Bank, Alfred Pelham. If anybody ever drive down 94 and they see Pelham Road, that was named after the prominent black father and son who they called the father of Wayne County government, because they was Harvard graduates, etc. Alfred Pelham, he was an older guy. He was the first black controller of Detroit, financial guy, hired by Kavanaugh, but he was the chair of the bank. They had loaned the money to Auburn Hills to finance a new stadium. Coleman Young convinced them to call in the loan and deny and said, we're not going to do the stadium. You know what happened in the end? The city had to pay Auburn Hills because they lost in court, but they reneged on the loan, and Coleman Young brought Bruce Norris and Mike Ilitch together, where the Red Wings loaned Mike Ilitch money to buy them, and there they stayed in Detroit. And they never left Detroit. WJR wanted to move out of the Fisher building to Southfield. Coleman Young, you got to have somebody that's gonna kick some ass. There's no problem that we had a mayor that says we got to keep the hockey, even though we don't have a stadium. We got to. How can we? Bullshit to say they was moving to the Tigers to Allen Park or some other place. Detroit has been under fire for a long time. They finally fell for the blackmail when they had to build Core America Park.
Well, let me ask you, and you may know better than I, and correct me if I'm wrong. I think the deal was with Joe Louis that the rent to the Red Wings was like $1 a year,
Yes.
but
Yes. They paid nothing. They paid nothing.
Concessions. They were supposed to get a percentage of concession revenues.
Nothing. They paid nothing.
And TV revenues. And when the
They paid nothing.
The bankruptcy came, they owed $90 million in TV
and they wasn't
revenue.
paying.
And they got, I think they paid $5 million out of it. They weren't the ones.
They got nothing.
Yeah.
And then we deal with this shit. And you ask Coleman, what's the deal? You know, he had to make all kind of deals. You go look at Pole Town when the city, because General Motors said we're gonna build a tech town in 1980. We're gonna have all these companies coming in and a new GM plant.
Right.
And so they got rid of St. Joe Hospital. They got rid of schools. They got rid of churches. Right. They got rid of 3,000 families. And General Motors only got a plant over there. They got nothing else. Yeah. Nothing. Yeah. And I asked the mayor, do you regret Pole Town? Because when the Supreme Court, the only time in history where they ruled that a corporation can kick people out of eminent domain, can't do it anymore. And he said, I was a victim of urban renewal. We didn't get any money. Everybody that got evicted from Pole Town, from the renters to the owners of property, got paid. Mm-hmm. So I don't feel bad, and he didn't feel bad. So
yeah. I mean, it happens all the time where people are pushed out for the freeway. I think we still had more recently at 75 or 375, where there's properties. One of our friends who owns a building there, it was bought out. But anyways. So let's take a break, and then let's come back and let's talk about the New York election and talk about how that applies to Michigan, if it does. So
okay, that's fine.
All right, Friday night in Detroit. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer. Are you living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, or maybe you know someone who's in the same situation? The probate process may be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. We have several nonprofit partners who have free attorneys who can assist you. Contact our office, 313-224-5990, or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. Don't lose your family property. Some of these properties have been in the family for 4 or 5 generations. Contact us now. We're here to help.
Okay, we're back.
All right.
Go ahead, Allan.
Yeah, so we had an election on Tuesday night. We had 3 members of Congress, and they were really Democrats, progressive, and this was in the primary there. They were beaten by what were Democratic socialists, who were backed by the mayor of New York City, Zohar Mamdani, in one of the races. So I guess the question is, these progressives beat out really progressives, but they were even more progressives. They have a little bit more to the left views on ownership of land and property and all that kind of stuff. I mean, Mamdani, I guess he's got.
Listen, it's a perfect storm.
Yeah.
New York had a governor that was a criminal, and had a mayor that was a criminal. Mm-hmm. So New Yorkers say, you know what, we're gonna try something different. So they going all the way to the left.
And do you think that's a sign of the times? And like here we have
New York. New York is so different, but it don't play out in a state like Michigan, because Duggan, he tested the water and say, you know what, fuck the Democratic Party. And he went independent. He found out that his base in Detroit wasn't following. I thought that if he would have done something that the mayor of New York did, he might still be in play. Might not, whatever. But what we got here, we got in a Senate race, Abdul al-Sayed. He might win the primary, but I don't think he gonna win the Senate race. I was involved in 1998 with Jeffrey Feiger, who was more progressive than these people could ever be. Right. He attracted not only progressive Democrats, but libertarians, Lyndon LaRoche people, disillusioned Republicans. They all came together in the primary and beat the Democratic favorite, Larry Orn, who was a seasoned politician, kicked his ass. Right. But when it came to the general, the unions who he attacked went with Engler. All the Democrats, most of them didn't vote. The ones that voted, most of them voted for Engler. The only person that won on the Democratic ticket was Jennifer Granholm, who was a know-nothing corporate counsel. But what she did was she disowned Feiger. She said, I'm not supporting what he support, and she won, but everybody else lost. And the Democrats, it was 20 years losing the House and the Senate because Feiger got his butt kicked. And I talk to people, the media kicked Feiger, he had a big mouth and he talked any stuff, but Feiger was not the person they thought he was. Feiger, smart guy, would have been a great governor, and I don't, but they painted him into a corner as he was a progressive guy. He was a guy that they say, oh, he make a lot of money suing people, but he paid for funerals of kids in Detroit that nobody knew that got killed by gun violence. He did a whole lot of things that, you saying that Feiger did that? Yeah, Feiger did that. But but the progressives cannot win. We got a congresswoman, Rashida Tlaib, that people thought she was going to be the person going to Congress, is gonna do the right thing. She couldn't win a statewide election. She can win that seat over there, out of Dearborn. Right. But no, she's not gonna win it. Dude, he might win the primary, but he's not gonna win the election. I bet everything. Yes, somebody said Granholm came from the McNamara machine. Yes, and the only reason Feiger picked her, she wasn't chosen at a convention. He was able to pick her, and he didn't trust her. But McNamara was the only politician supporting Feiger. They were smart, but they knew Feiger wasn't going to win. We was on the Titanic with Feiger during the general election, but I wouldn't trade it for the world because, when you believe in something, and I tell folks, you don't like progressives and stuff. I said, I've been on the progressive train. I know it's a train wreck because we can win the primary, we can win local elections, but you're not going any. That's all. That's it. We got 2 LBG people on the city council. What? Well, because they said They put the spotlight on them. So what? What
Right.
is that going to get us? We got some socialists on the city council. Okay, what is that going to happen? What is going to bring the city of Detroit? You know what? You got good commercials, all that. Abdul, he got some good commercials, and he's the flavor of the month. But he's not gonna beat Mike Rogers. The city, the state went for Trump and stuff, and he got some issues that I don't think he can overcome.
Well, let me ask you, do you see any parallels with the 1972 presidential election where McGovern won the Democratic nomination for president?
He hijacked the party, and then he made it. He made it worse when he picked the right guy to run for vice president, Thomas Eagleton.
Right.
And all of a sudden they found out that, oh, he had some shock therapy because he was a manic depressor, and they kicked him off the fucking ticket.
Right.
And that was a mistake. Now, my mother used to take me to the polls when she went to vote. Never would tell me who she voted for. But I was 18, and I said, I hope you're not voting for McGovern. She said, why? I said, because he's basically an asshole. He ain't loyal, etc. She said, but I'm not voting for Nixon. I said, I'm not either. She said, who are you voting for? I said, there's a guy running third party named John Anderson, a congressman out of Illinois.
Right.
I said, and she told me the first time, that's who I'm voting for. I'm voting for, and that and you know, McGovern lost every fucking state, even South Dakota where he was from, and he only won Massachusetts and DC. So that was the progressive. He hijacked the party. But hijacking it and getting it couldn't deliver it. Right. Democrats went against him. His home state went against him. So you brought up, I forgot about McGovern.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, I can't tell. I mean, I think the Senate race is very close. I mean, the Democratic Party is, I think, pulling for Haley Stevens. I think Mallory McMorrow is trying to come up from the behind. She's been trailing those two guys, and Saeed has done well. I mean, he's got a lot of commercials out there. He speaks with some, gravitas.
Yeah, he's a smart guy. But if I was running against him, he's not a doctor.
Sure.
He's not a doctor. He graduated from medical school.
He's not a physician.
He got a MD degree.
Right.
But he's not a doctor.
He's not a physician. He's not
right. He's not a doctor.
Yeah, I mean, he's talked about and one of the other common threads. I mean, one, I think people in New York maybe want to change. I mean, New York City is not affordable for people living in Manhattan, lots of parts of Brooklyn now, even Queens and all the other boroughs.
And Harlem. Have you been to Harlem?
Yeah, Harlem is like, well, when Bill Clinton left office, he put an office up in Harlem, and suddenly, bam.
And he gentrified the shit overnight.
Fort Locker, Dunkin' Donuts popped up. All the yuppies were buying the brownstones. But I don't know. We'll see what happens if El Said wins, and if he wins, he's not the folks that support Haley Stevens. They not voting for him. Right.
You Jewish, the Jewish whole population of Jews ain't voting for him. I'm sorry.
I'll say this: in like Huntington Woods, there are some signs in front of Jewish people's homes.
We got black folks. We got black folks that believe that the Confederates was right when they broke away from the U.S. But I'm telling you,
But I was going to say that one of the commonalities beyond people saying they want more things with affordability, I think in the old, not so long ago, most of the people homeless, or a lot of them, some fell on hard times and some had mental health issues. But now prices are so high, it's not affordable for a lot of people, and so there are more homeless people.
I live over in Corktown.
Right.
There's a woman just appeared. She got to be from someplace else. Somebody dumped her. A white woman. She got a walker. She older woman. She got all her clothes. They moved her. She tried to been sleeping in front of Citizen Bank. They moved her there. She on the sidewalk in front of a business. When they opened up, they made her leave and stuff. And I'm saying, obviously, she got some issues, but I see more and more folks sleeping on the sidewalk all over the place, and people just walking over them and whatever. What are we doing? Where's our elected officials?
Right. Where's the humanity there? But I agree with that. But I was going to say, there's one other issue that is a common thread in New York and with El Said.
What it is.
Yeah, with El Said is also another issue is APAC, and APAC has become a very toxic word, and there's a very
they got all the money, and I met with people from APAC because they talking about they don't like Sri and all that, but they pick and choose who they support, and when they support you, they don't half-ass support you. They go all out, and they're forced to be reckoned with.
What about Sri? What do you think about? He's going to win
again.
What
about Sri? Listen. Well, about Sri. He was created by those folks, and they know who the folks are. And some of them are connected to the new mayor. They supported him for state rep and got him in there, and now he's like a damn virus that you can't get rid of. I voted absentee. I didn't vote for him, and I voted for. We had McKinney on here.
Yeah, right.
And I'm pissed at him because he's a disciple of Rashida Tlaib, but I voted for him. I tell you, I voted for him, and because I don't want Sri. Now he's running that commercial. I came here with nothing. Now he used to say he came to the U.S. with $20. Now it's nothing.
He lost $20 somewhere along the way.
No question.
But Sri is. I mean, look, he's. His opponent McKinney just doesn't have the money. He doesn't have a campaign. Really, a great campaign that he's running. I mean, he's endorsed by Bernie Sanders. He's endorsed by Rashida Tlaib, but he just doesn't seem to be. You're not seeing him out there like Sri is out.
No, because Sri went in the community and he got preacher pimps doing commercials and all this other stuff. He got all kind of folks doing stuff. He got people that if you say, why is he with Sri? And somebody say, well, he's a good guy. He's a good minister and stuff. He can support who he want to support. Yeah, I guess you can, but you get no services. Rashida Tlaib, in a rare criticism from one congressperson to another, said they got so many calls from his district that he don't answer the phone. He got nobody doing none of these things. And, all he does is send out paper.
Mm-hmm.
Paper. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Screw you, Shriek. But he's going to be hard to beat because he's entrenched
Well,
in this shit.
He's been spending a lot of the government money that they're allowed
Yes.
to do so much educating on what the Congress members are doing. He's using a lot of that money. He's going on TV with some of that money.
But if people want to vote for him, he gonna get some votes and he probably win. You know, I didn't vote
get
for him.
robocalls all the time. They're having town meetings virtually.
You know, there's no question that, you know, we get people we don't want them, you know, in, but they get in because man, we don't have better candidates and stuff. What about Mary Waters saying that she was verbally assaulted publicly by someone for being a potential candidate? You know, Mary Waters got into races before when Carolyn Kilpatrick was the congresswoman, and her and Martha Scott, who's a commissioner, they both decided, well, we're going to run against Carolyn Kilpatrick. They split the vote, and they barely lost. So they do all this stuff, and they get in these races and stuff. And she would have been in this race if they wouldn't have threw her off the ballot for bogus signatures. So do you want to be in the city council or do you want to be in Congress? How can you get fucking elected to city council and then you start running for Congress?
Right.
What the fuck?
What do you make of that? It seems so inappropriate. I mean, it's so, you know, you just got elected and now you're like, I don't really want that job, but it's a backup just in case I lose out on the congressional race, which, you know, jump in one way or another. But I think it's insulting to candidates, particularly people who put up money to your campaign to help you get elected to the city council. And then
you look at who's running in the Secretary of State. You know,
who's going to win that one?
You know, what is Garland Gilchrist run? He stepped down to. I don't get it. I don't.
Consolation prize.
That's no prize.
Yeah.
You could be dead and be the Secretary of State.
Do you think he had any chance as governor in the governor race?
Well, he got boxed in, and the Queen boxed him in. What is the most important piece on a chessboard? Is the Queen, and Gretchen Whitmer is the Queen right now. She boxed him in. Said he was a loser, couldn't win. I don't know any lieutenant governor that won for governor. Well, she didn't mention Milliken, you know. Right. She needed him for two elections, and then she threw him away.
Right.
I would have went rogue on her after the first election. She would have had to fire me from the team. Right. But you know, but that's not his style.
Right.
And you know, people.
John, I mean, he's still got a political future. I mean, if he wins Secretary of State,
so what can he do?
He could run for governor again. I think maybe a lot.
His time is come and gone as governor.
Yeah, you think so? Well, yeah. How about Congress? Or how about mayor?
That's beneath him. He don't want to be in Congress. He didn't even want to run for mayor of Detroit.
I think it would have been a great mayor. I think it would have been a strong candidate, don't you?
But whoever he's talking to, and I like the young man, a smart guy, but when it comes politically, not so smart.
He still needs to work on it. I see him talk. He's more demonstrative than he has been in the past. He speaks very forcefully at times, but he's still it seems like.
Well, Well, ask Kenneth Reed, our friend Kenneth Reed. He said Secretary of State is the Michigan Democratic Party designate position for Black folks. You're absolutely right, Kenneth. You're absolutely right.
Although
It used to be the Attorney General for a minute, and then it depends on the year or whatever. The Democratic Party, they play a part of that shit. When Feiger ran for governor, he picked the former state rep Mary Lou Parks.
Mm-hmm.
Hell of a community activist, great person, but she was in her 70s when she got elected to state rep. And I asked Feiger, I said, hey man, she can't beat Candace Miller. Oh, she's an icon. I said she was an icon, right. But they put her out there, and she asked me, well, can I hire you to run my campaign? I said, yeah, how much money you got to run the campaign? She said, Democratic Party gave me 50 grand. I said, that's what I charge. I told her that. And she said, oh. I said, is that it? She said, yeah. I said, you need several $100,000, right. Mary Lou.
50,000.
They gave her 50 grand. She couldn't do shit with that.
Right.
Nothing. Zero. This is what they did. Amos Williams, the brother, he used to be married to the late Judge Carol Youngblood. They nominated him one time when Granholm was the governor for Attorney General. Guess what? They gave him no money. 25 grand. He got his ass kicked. I say this is unbelievable. Deborah Thomas, go ahead.
There's a question. Miss Sheila says, what can we do about slumlords? I think, look, that's stuff that happens in the city council and the mayor's office where people should live. We saw it, and this isn't a slum. This is a high end. We saw whatever it's called, Millie on Brush, formerly the Millinder Center. There were.
Well, you know what? That hit home because I lived in the Millinder Center when they first built it back in 88.
Right.
I remember. I lived there for 4 years.
Yeah.
It was a great building and stuff. But that's when you sell it to somebody like Village Green, who do nothing. They do nothing with it.
I think what has to happen is, part of it's just inspections, and there has to be a stronger housing presence where people should not. I mean, that's a high end building where one guy was saying he was living on the penthouse paying $4,000. Another person interviewed by Fox 2 said she was paying over $2,000, and there were rats running around the building. There was an odor coming from the garbage area. Nobody should live in the city, really anywhere, but the city should have a mechanism to crack down. There should be better enforcement. If anybody's living where there's elevators out, where there's heat out during the winter, where there's rats and cockroaches and stuff, a landlord's obligation is to either you get out of the business or you provide a service. And so I think it's up to people to demand to go to council.
I'm glad they took the Miller name off of it. Robert Miller was an icon here in Detroit.
Right.
and they took his name off good. It's when you see that rats running around in the building and you say, how do people paying $4,000? They wouldn't get my money. They wouldn't get my money,
and that's a nice building.
But you know what? We know that with all the construction, with a building of new hotels, whatever, we are upsetting nature, because we got rodents all over the place. Go to New York, and you see all the garbage at night when they get ready to go to bed. They got it all packed out, and if you walk past at a certain time of the night, you see Ben. I call him Ben from the movie Willard. And Ben, his family, they eating every night. They having dinner. They don't want to mess with you, and you sure don't want to mess with them.
In D.C., there was one of the entertainment districts, Adams Morgan, which is also a residential area.
I used to live over Adams Morgan.
Okay. Well, they got all these jumbo pizza slices. All the drunk people are buying these huge pizza slices for $3.50, $4. And, they take 3-4 bites and throw it on the streets. The rats were out. I mean, there were so many rats out at the end of the night, a feeding frenzy. Cities have rat issues, but, every building can mitigate and get rid of that. Cockroaches, you should not have. There's pest control places. You shouldn't have cockroaches in your place. I mean, sometimes it happens, but it shouldn't be an infestation. It shouldn't be on a regular basis.
No, it shouldn't be. Yeah. But we got it.
People need to demand. People need to call their council members. If you're living in a building that is subpar, that things aren't being taken care of, that you see on TV leaks.
We can talk about that tomorrow. About if you're gonna call your council members, what council person is gonna get on top of that? Because I look at the council, half of them is a joke, and prove me wrong. What is the name of the Midland Center now?
It's called Million Brush. Million
Brush. Rat time. American Corner, was it Lafayette on the island?
Oh yeah, Lafayette.
I could walk past there and people eating it. Bring the rat on. They don't care. And people do not care.
They did have. I mean, they were shut down twice. They had holes in the foundation where rats were coming through. They had to plug those up. Hopefully, you're not seeing it anymore. But anybody who went downstairs to use the bathroom in Lafayette Corner Island knew it was not the cleanest of places. So hopefully, after all these inspections and shutdowns, they're in better shape. But
I hope so. What we got on for tomorrow, man?
Tomorrow, are you going to be there tomorrow, or?
Yeah, I'll be live from Exchange.
Are we doing Exchange tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So you want to come down to Exchange? Come on down.
All right.
And let's talk about it. Right. What about in Bloomfield Hill? Yeah, they got rats. They got rats. They got rats everywhere. They got at one time they had rats in Roseville and East Point and stuff. And rats are everywhere. That, especially when you got new construction.
And mice as well.
Mice, all that stuff. So it ain't just Detroit. And plus, we got a lot of rats that's in jail and stuff, and they'll rat you out.
Rats.
Right. Ain't no question. So I want to thank everybody. Used to have rats. Is the one? But the rats late at night. Michael Jackson. I wish we could play Michael Jackson hit record, Ben. Ain't no question about it. But anyway, we'll be here tomorrow. And thank you everyone that on a Friday night you could be somewhere at the bar getting your drink on, or you can be whatever the drive-in. There's a drive-in, or the movies or whatever, at the clubs, hanging out. Thank you for joining us. And Lady T, thank you, And we'll be back tomorrow.
All right. See everybody tomorrow morning.